Our main vehicle in Subnautica Below Zero is the Seatruck, for better or worse. Some players love it, some players hate it. But one thing everyone thinks about with the Seatruck is, does it work well enough for a mobile base? When it comes to a mobile base, you need something that can match the main capabilities a standard base provides. In the world of Subnautica, I find this comes down to 4 main points. So does the Seatruck meet the requirements of a mobile base? Let's talk about it. The first point is that your base must provide for food and water. After all, Subnautica is a survival game, so we have to keep ourselves fed and hydrated in order to live. In original Subnautica, the Cyclops afforded us a lot of customization options for the inside areas of it. This allowed for the player to build things like indoor grow beds and planter pots for use with the edible flora of the game. This made it quite simple to set up a long-term food and water strategy within the Cyclops. The Seatruck does not offer the same customization options. There was even a planter module being tested during early access in Below Zero, but it was ultimately cut from the game. That means we are already more limited with the Seatruck than with the Cyclops. But plants are not the only food options. We can of course go out and gather fish as well. Now the Seatruck does feature an aquarium module with the intent that it will automatically gather fish for you as you drive around. Unfortunately, it doesn't work quite that smoothly, as you can readily kill the fish you are hoping to capture simply by bumping them with the Seatruck. But hey, this still means you can get a few fish in storage without having to go get them by hand. Now you don't get to choose what fish are collected, so you can still end up having to go out and grab bladderfish, for example, because you don't have any. But eating raw fish isn't the best option, and while the Thermoblade can cook fish for you, you still need water. This is where the still suit can become very useful, but ultimately you will need a way to process the fish you catch. So in regarding food options, the Seatruck technically works to gather food, but is not as good as the Cyclops with easy food production. Because of this, I give the Seatruck a maybe on the food and water aspect of a mobile base. This leads us to the second point for what a base must provide, and that is production. By production, I specifically mean the ability to produce tools and materials we need to aid our survival. Subnautica Below Zero is not a low-tech type of survival game, so you cannot make a survival knife, for example, with just your hands. You need a fabricator. Fortunately, the Seatruck has a fabricator module for it, which provides the same capabilities of a standard base fabricator. That means you can take the bladderfish you collected and produce water. You can cook or cure fish to secure a good food supply. And of course, you can produce the different tools and craftable materials you need for survival and the story. So if you plan to use the Seatruck for a mobile base, you will have to use a fabricator module. While you will be able to produce a lot of items, you will still need a regular base so you can use the modification station. This is because you need the modification station to produce the upgraded depth modules for both the Seatruck and Prawn Suit. So once again, because of specific limitations with the Seatruck, I have to call this another maybe on the Seatruck being a mobile base. You could get by without the depth upgrades, but it would certainly make the gameplay more difficult. Now we have the third main point of a good base, and that is storage. Your suit inventory space will only go so far, so to really utilize the Seatruck as a base, you will need sufficient storage. The Seatruck does have the storage module, which affords you a total of 72 spaces of storage across 5 lockers. You also get a single 6x2 locker in the fabricator module, since you will most likely be using it. That's not a lot of storage, even though it is more than we originally received during early access. Compare it with the Cyclops, and the Seatruck falls far short. But we do get storage, and you can always add additional storage modules for more inventory space at the cost of some movement speed. Technically, in this regard, the Seatruck is a yes for a mobile base because you can expand your storage if you need to, and if focusing on just the story, you will ultimately not need a ton of storage. Now we have the last main point for a mobile base, which is power production. After all, it doesn't do you any good for your base to be without power, and even worse for a mobile base to be without power. Fortunately, you do get the option of dual power cells, so the Seatruck has a decent power duration before needing a recharge. In the original game, the Cyclops could be upgraded with a thermal power module to allow it to recharge while parked at a sufficiently hot location. But this is Subnautica Below Zero, and there are not quite as many hotspots in this game as there were in the original. Also, the Seatruck does not have a thermal power option. You can, however, augment the setup with a prawn suit with a thermal upgrade docked to your Seatruck. This will allow you to swap your empty power cells from the Seatruck to the prawn suit and let the prawn suit sit there recharging in a high temperature location. So that does help the Seatruck a bit, but power cells are not the only things that need recharging. You also need to recharge batteries for your various pieces of equipment. This is where the swim charge fins will help, as you can swim around holding a tool in your hand and let it slowly charge up. For me, this is still a bit limiting, but it does technically work. My suggestion is to abuse the Sea Glide for this. By that, I mean swap a low power battery into the Sea Glide and do your normal high speed swimming until it is fully charged up. Then swap out with another low power battery, rinse, and repeat. In the end, you have workarounds for your power needs with the Seatruck. So for the purpose of a mobile base, the Seatruck gets a yes for power production, but it is a stretch. Overall, using the Seatruck as a mobile base will depend on your preferred playstyle. I honestly love the Cyclops for how well it can serve as a mobile base, and even more so with the right mods. But even with mods to the rescue, I still find the Seatruck too limiting for a mobile base. There are going to be plenty of players screaming, yes, it is the perfect mobile base. There will be players also screaming, the Seatruck is horrible for a mobile base. I'm just going to say, I don't find that the Seatruck fits my playstyle as a mobile base, but it might work out fine for you. In the end, just give it a try and leave a comment below on whether or not you personally find the Seatruck to be a good mobile base.